My apologies, everyone. For some reason, my camera likes to cut itself off after about 23 minutes, and I still haven't figured out why. I have full battery, and I can hold up to 10 hours worth of video on this memory card. I have a 16 gig? Yeah, 16 gig card. So anyway, this will end up being part 2. More of my personal opinion at this point. We were talking about, is it worth the $800 or $1,000 you might pay? Taking away the parts that I just spoke about, talking about how much we know it cost at the retail price and how easily they could go into full production, ruining the value of the knife if you overpaid. Looking at the knife on its own merits, this is one of the finest produced knives. If you took off all of the markings off of this knife and introduced it to someone who had never seen it, that was a collector of very fine knives, and said this is a complete custom knife and I'd be looking for $1,000 for it to sell it to you, they would inspect this, they would look at the quality of the materials, 3D machined, very high-end carbon fiber, custom hardware, Devon Thomas Damascus, bonded with the Van X steel, titanium subframe lock with fully adjustable and replaceable steel lock face, beautiful pocket clip, not a cheap spring clip, but a fully contoured and machined clip. Quality exuded from every area. The fit and finish is flawless. The action is nearly breathtaking until you hit your tripod. Luckily, that was on the plastic cap. Just to show Carlos I didn't bang up your knife. Yeah. Just judging the knife on its own merits, it is easily worth that. But I still have that apprehension based on what I was talking about at the tail end of my first installment of this video before I was so rudely cut off. Listen, I don't care about the drama. I don't care about the stories that circulate around the bullshit with Microtech and everything else that went into this. What pisses me off is the wait. When Zero Tolerance announced these and said they're going to be coming out on this month during this year, which I believe goes back all the way to 2009, is when they announced it to come out in 2010. It's now 2013. And 1 or 2 runs have been released. They were all snatched up immediately, and 90% of the people that bought them to flip it for an extraordinary profit. They paid $450, $475, and they were selling them for $800 minimum. I never saw one go for less than that, or I would have bought one. There are opportunists out there, unfortunately. Now, that's not always a bad thing, and that's not always something that you want to nail somebody on. If somebody wants to get this knife and make it available to other people and they want to pocket a little bit, hey, you know what, $100, $150, that's worth the zero effort that you put into it. But to charge double, yeah, I got an issue with that, especially on a production knife. So I've just refused to pay it. And I still, right this very minute, even after handling it, I wouldn't pay it, just based on that. But the knife, this is the kind of knife dreams are made of. And this gives us all hope for production knives. Maybe you've gotten to that point in your collecting that, you love your custom knives and your mid-tech knives, but you're tired of hearing, sorry, my books are closed. Sorry, I can put your name on a list and I can build you a knife in 1 year to 3 years or 5 years. Sorry, you didn't jump quick enough when I put this knife up on a lottery to give you the opportunity to even be able to buy it. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm not knocking any of the makers that do that. They have limited amount of time and resources in which to make their product. Mid-techs are even getting impossible to get at this point. I mean, seriously. So this is an exciting time for us as knife lovers, as knife collectors, because now we have a full-on production knife that if they tooled up for it, they could probably crank out a few thousand of these this year and satisfy the demand for it almost immediately. And the demand is warranted. The quality of this knife, the impressive design work, the combination of unique materials makes it something that I don't see how any knife nut wouldn't want. I mean, opinions are going to vary on design. Some people like things that other people don't. You couldn't give me a stag-handled knife. You could say, I'll sell you this Q36 for $50 with a stag-handled. No, I wouldn't take it. I'd take it and flip it, make some money to buy the Martin that I wanted, So everybody's going to be different on that. But if this is a style that appeals to you, I mean, you can't deny how sexy that is. And the action. A very solid lockup. I mean, this just locks itself in place. It's incredible to listen to it in action. And we'll watch that detent as it grabs the blade. Actually, you almost don't get a chance. I mean, that's as smooth as something with a whole back rolling detent. See if I can get it to do it slower. Come on, don't just drop in. And it's like a hand-tuned detent. It is perfect. How they're able to achieve that in a production knife, I'll be honest with you, I don't know. Are all the examples of this knife this amazing? I can't speak to that. This is the very first time I've ever handled one. And I have to thank Carlos again, Fresno CP 1969. Go subscribe to his channel. He's got some pretty kick-ass stuff. And thanks to him, I'm able to handle this beautiful creation. It's made me look over my own collection and think to myself, what could I offer him in a trade where I don't feel bad about spending $1,000 on this knife? But I'm at the point in my collection where I'm happy with everything that I own. So I don't really want to give anything up, but I do want to have one of these more than I can possibly tell you. I knew I've always wanted one, but now after handling it, inspecting it, fondling it, caressing it, getting creepy with it, this is bordering on rapey. It's like, I kind of want to rape the knife. That's how hot this is and how unattainable it is. I'm going to be so distraught when I have to box this up tomorrow and ship it back to Carlos. I really am. I'm going to be distraught. So I will tell you this. If you have the opportunity to grab one, if you're wondering about justifying the price, if you want to base it solely on the quality of the knife, then do it. If you can put aside the fact that you know it can be obtained for a much lower price, if it were made into full production, then absolutely do it. I don't think you're going to find a finer blade. I don't think you're going to find such a great combination where you can have a beautiful dressed Damascus and a blade that you're not afraid to use for anything. I mean, I would literally use this for anything. Not just light tasks like cutting twine or opening envelopes. But you could really use this knife. And with the extreme degree of the chromium content and the extreme corrosion resistance, means it's a knife you can carry at all times, in any conditions, in any environment. Its lightweightness at 4.5 ounces makes it the perfect choice for an EDC. You'll hardly ever know you're carrying it. Even just wearing a pair of shorts, nothing, more substantial like jeans or pants with a belt or something. It is so lightweight, it's almost hard to imagine. So yeah, this is, in my personal opinion, kind of a dream knife. One of those knives that dreams are made of. That flipping action is incredible for what they were going to be charging for these. I still have 3 pre-orders from 2010. Those dealers either never got them or they only got like 3, and I wasn't that far up on the list. I will find a way to own one of these. I will either find the knife that somebody wants to trade for that I'm willing to give up, or I'm just going to pony up the cash. There will be one in my collection, and it will be used and carried. All right, guys, I'm going to cut it off here. This is a total of about 30 minutes of video. Again, this is a new segment, Guest Blades, Fresno CP 1969. Carlos was wonderful enough to donate this for the weekend to allow me to do this. I'm going to do a little bit of photography on it if I can find the time to do it, share it with you guys on Instagram and everywhere else. Thank you so much, my friend, for doing this and allowing me to kind of put my spin on it and talk about it and get my feelings out about it and to experience it for myself and talk myself into buying one. Yeah, I'm screwed. You think this is bad? Wait till Brian's knife arrives tomorrow. Guest Blade number 3, the next installment, is going to be a GTC. Oh, dear God, help me. All right, guys, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Don't forget this was part 2 of this video because my camera crapped out on me on the first part. Thanks, guys. Talk to you later.